ministers here present, members of the media. We are at our post-cabinet briefing, and today, as you can see, the substantive minister is not around. She's still in Dubai, just having tidings done. But we have the acting minister, the Honorable Dr. Ndovu, you know, in the tourism sector, but today he has another jacket. He's the acting minister for information. So over to you to make your presentation of the post-cabinet press briefing. Honorable Minister.
Thank you so much, Chief Secretary. Good evening, colleague ministers. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I present to you the post-cabinet press briefing for cabinet sitting today, the 16th of March 2022. I start with Zimbabwe's response to the COVID-19 pandemic and report on the procurement and rollout of vaccines. Cabinet received an update on the country's response to the COVID-19 pandemic and a report on procurement and rollout of vaccines as presented by the Chairman of the Ministers' COVID-19 National Committee, Vice President and Minister of Health and Child Care, Honorable Dr. C.D.G.N. Chiwenga. The nation is advised that as at 15 March 2022, the country's cumulative COVID-19 cases stood at 243,365, with 232,787 recoveries and 5,417 deaths. The recovery rate was 95%, with 5,151 active cases having been recorded. The number of new COVID-19 cases increased to 3,306 during the week under review, compared to 3,234 recorded the previous week. The number of people in need of hospitalization for COVID-19 continues to decrease, with the country's bed occupancy rate declining to 3% during the week under review from 3.2% the previous week. There were no admissions to the intensive care unit. Regarding the national vaccination program, Cabinet wishes to inform the public that as at 15 March 2022, a total of 4,401,450 first doses of the COVID-19 vaccine had been administered, while 3,426,112 people had received their second dose. A total of 159,628 third doses have been administered to date. The National Vaccination Blitz campaign will kick off on Monday, 21 March 2022, and government is urging those that have not yet been vaccinated to take advantage of this exercise to do so. The nation is also being informed that the total number of COVID-19 cases detected in schools since the beginning of the first term increased to 606 during the week under review, compared to 517 recorded the previous week. The majority of the infected learners, that is 422, were day scholars, which is indicative that the infections are from the communities. Attendance in schools has continued to increase and currently stands at 96% for teachers and 94.7% for learners. Government is concerned about those schools and teachers that are demanding payment in foreign currency and will institute disciplinary measures where this is found to be true. The government is appealing to all Zimbabweans to take the COVID-19 pandemic seriously, and as such are required to continue to adhere to the laid down World Health Organization and national protocols at all times. These protocols include the following: the wearing of masks at all times, washing of hands and observing social distance. The citizens are being urged to be on their guard at all times to minimize infections. I move on now to the preparations for the 2022 Children's Party and 42nd Anniversary Independence Day celebrations. Cabinet was briefed on the 2022 Children's Party and the 42nd Anniversary Independence Day celebrations by the Minister of Local Government and Public Works, Honorable July Moyo, on behalf of the Chairperson of the Cabinet Committee on State Occasions. Cabinet reports that the 2022 Children's Party and the 42nd Anniversary Independence Day celebrations will, for the first time in the history of the nation, be held in Bulawayo on the 17th and 18th of April 2022, respectively, under the theme, I quote, Zim at 42, leaving no one and no place behind, close quote. This is in line with the Second Republic's drive towards the promotion of national unity, devolution, and decentralization. The 2022 Children's Party will be attended by 540 learners drawn from the country's 10 provinces. In an effort to expose the learners to the country's history and heritage, the learners drawn from the provinces will visit the following places in and around Bulawayo: Matopos, Bulawayo Museum, Chipangali Orphanage, and Chabalala Sanctuary. His Excellency the President will grace the soccer match between Highlanders and Dynamos football clubs and hand over the Presidential Independence Day trophy to the winners. The 2022 Children's Party and 42nd Anniversary Independence Day celebrations will be held in strict observance of all COVID-19 protocols. There will be a massive COVID-19 testing exercise in Bulawayo during the Independence Day celebrations. Only those who are tested and are negative will be allowed to attend the celebrations. The nation is also being advised that the 42nd anniversary celebrations will also be held in all the other provinces and districts, and there will be strict enforcement of all COVID-19 regulations. I move on to Judicial Laws Amendment Bill. Cabinet considered and approved the Judicial Laws Amendment Bill as presented by the Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs as Chairman of the Cabinet Committee on Legislation. Cabinet advises that the Judicial Laws Amendment Bill seeks to provide for virtual court sittings in both civil and criminal proceedings and to align various provisions of judicial laws to the Constitution. The bill also provides for the establishment of the Office of the Messenger of Labour Court to enforce judgments. I now move on to the report on His Excellency the President's state visit to Kenya and the Zimbabwe-Kenya Joint Permanent Commission from the 8th to the 10th of March 2022. Cabinet received a report on His Excellency the President's state visit to Kenya and the Zimbabwe-Kenya Joint Permanent Commission from the 8th to the 10th of March 2022 as presented by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade. The nation is informed that His Excellency the President's visit to Kenya was preceded by the third session on cooperation between Zimbabwe and Kenya. In order to facilitate its work, the Joint Permanent Commission on Cooperation broke into 3 clusters, namely the Foreign Affairs, Administration and Governance, the Economic and Trade Matters, and the Social and Cultural Affairs. The Commission recommended 7 Memoranda of Understanding for signing during the state visit by His Excellency's visit to Kenya. The nation is advised that discussions between the 2 heads of state had focused on bilateral, regional and international issues of mutual interest and concern. The 2 heads of state reaffirmed their commitment to continue working together to strengthen and broaden bilateral cooperation. Cabinet advises that the state visit was highly successful as the following Memoranda of Understanding were signed. 1 is the Memorandum of Understanding on Political and Diplomatic Consultation. 2 is the Memorandum of Understanding on the Promotion of Women Empowerment and Community Development. 3 is Memorandum of Understanding in the field of youth affairs. 4, Memorandum of Understanding on the Promotion of Cooperatives. 5 is Memorandum of Understanding on cooperation in the field of tourism and wildlife management. 6 is Memorandum of Understanding in the field of sport and recreation. And 7, Memorandum of Understanding regarding cooperation and assistance in the field of civil aircraft accidents and serious incidents investigation. The nation is also advised that His Excellency the President of Kenya had agreed to officiate at the 2022 Zimbabwe International Trade Fair to be held in Bulawayo. During that visit, he will also visit the Great Zimbabwe Monument. In addition, various other areas of interest were discussed with a view to furthering economic cooperation, and these include discussion on the duration of the visitors' passes issued at the ports of entry for the respective countries. Cabinet also expressed appreciation to President Kenyatta and the government of Kenya for granting citizenship to members of the Shona community who have been resident in Kenya since 1960. This gesture demonstrated the strong fraternal bonds between the peoples of the two countries. In the spirit of African solidarity and friendship between the two countries, President Mnangagwa donated to Kenya 100 metric tons of medical oxygen. Going forward, Zimbabwe will host the 4th session of the Joint Permanent Commission during the first quarter of 2024 at a venue and date to be agreed through diplomatic channels. Zimbabwe will also host the midterm review meeting in March 2023. I now move on to the report on the official visit to the United Arab Emirates by His Excellency the President to attend Zimbabwe's National Day commemoration at Expo 2020 Dubai from the 13th to the 15th of March. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade briefed Cabinet on the visit to the United Arab Emirates by His Excellency the President from the 13th to the 15th of March 2022. The nation is informed that during the visit, His Excellency the President attended the Zimbabwe National Day commemorations at Expo 2020 Dubai, which was held on the 14th of March 2022. The President also officiated at the following events: the Diaspora Engagement Forum on the 13th of March and the Zimbabwe Business Forum on the 14th of March. At the Diaspora Forum, investment, trade, cultural exchange and tourism promotion, knowledge and skills transfer, philanthropic works and remittance mobilization were identified as key areas for diaspora contribution to national development. Cabinet acknowledged the role played by the diaspora in championing development and urges them to export the devolution agenda by taking up development projects in each of the 10 provinces. Cabinet is pleased to report that the Zimbabwe National Day was held on 14 March 2022 and was attended by the hierarchy of the UAE government. The following memoranda of understanding were signed. 1. ADA signed a $250 million joint venture agreement with the NV Group of India to establish a brewery in Masvingo. 2. A memorandum between the Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Water, Fisheries and Rural Development and the private office of H.H. Sheikh Ahmed bin Faisal Al Qasim. And 3rd is the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority signing an agreement with Dinata Travel on marketing. Various other agreements, such as the one with Sky Power for the establishment of a 500 megawatt solar energy plant, are at an advanced stage of conclusion. The nation is further advised that follow-up on all inquiries and deals negotiated during the 6-month Expo period is being pursued, and the nation will be updated on the progress made. Cabinet also wishes to advise the nation that it has been resolved to set up a commercial and consulate office in the commercial hub of the UAE, that is Dubai. This will ensure that our citizens in that region are well served, while the investment interest ignited by Zimbabwe's participation at the World Exposition will be adequately attended to in the national interest. The Zimbabwe Embassy in UAE will be prioritized for the establishment of facilities such as e-passport processing. I thank you, and I hand it back to the Chief Secretary.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for an excellent presentation. As promised by the substantive Minister, and now we will have a chance for questions from the media, which will be responded by appropriate ministers, who I will indicate. And as usual, normally we have two sessions. First session, where we have 3 or 6 total participants. You don't have to choose for you, but I will choose from either the left or the right. So who wants to start now before rolling? You pronounce who you are and the agents you work for, so that we will know how to handle responses. Yes, please.
My name is Shawanda Bruce from SlyMedia. My question is directed to Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Okay.
My question is, Mr. Maybe, do you qualify the business generated from export by soccer?
Okay. Second thing, anybody volunteer? Yes, from the other side.
My name is Maxwell Tabazaba from SlyMedia. I just want to ask on the, I don't know who answered the question, but I just want to ask about the issue of schools who are charging foreign currency. It looks like 3/4 of some schools, particularly the private schools, are now charging the forex. I don't know the government, what exactly the government is saying, if it's saying we are investigating on schools who are charging forex, but it looks like almost every school is now charging foreign currency. Maybe it can help us to understand that, because 3/4 of the schools are now demanding foreign currency.
Okay, thank you. Third, in third one, volunteer. We normally have 3. If not, we'll just go with those 2. Any volunteer? Okay, we will refer to the ministers first. Chawanda as a BC. Question directed to the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs. Estimated quantum of the business that came from that interaction in Dubai. Then we can go to Maxwell. I will give, but also to allow whoever is going to answer between Honorable Moyo and Honorable Ziambi. Maxwell from Star FM. Schools charging a currency. These are trust schools. What will be done about these, trust schools? Either or he can answer. But he might want to be democratic, I don't know. Okay. But anyway, without much ado, let's ask the Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs.
Thank you very much, Dr. Silvester, for giving me the opportunity to answer Bruce Chawanda's question about the quantum of business generated by the Dubai Expo. The whole point of the Expo is to expose the possibilities of doing business with Zimbabwe, between Zimbabwe and UAE. and between Zimbabwe and other participants to the expo. In terms of the expo itself, there are very small shops within the stalls, the stands of various countries. That's not how to measure the business. As far as Zimbabwe is concerned, we have generated sufficient business with people who have interacted with us and with the UAE itself to the tune of 1.6 billion. And when you look at our trading partners, this makes the UAE only second to South Africa as our largest trading partner. And this is what we are doing. But in addition to that, with the establishment of the Consul General's office, a commercial office, that will stimulate the environment in which they are to do business with Zimbabwe. We are very glad that government has actually allowed us to establish that consulate in Dubai instead of operating from our office in Abu Dhabi. And we believe that with the presence of the trade attaché there and other attachés, probably tourism attaché, will be enhancing business between the UAE and Zimbabwe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The second question, I don't know whether Mr. Lobo will tackle that.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the question. So I'll give a general statement initially, and then maybe go a bit deeper into the specific issue. First, I don't know about the 3/4 or 75%. I think it's just to express that maybe there are quite a number of schools that are currently charging in foreign currency. And I'm happy that you raised it in response to the discussion that we had in Cabinet, which, again, Cabinet is quite concerned that there are schools that are charging foreign currency as a prerequisite for students to learn. So I say a general statement is that generally we are in a multi-currency setup where fees can be paid in all currencies, but schools are now charging specifically in foreign currency to say you have to pay such an amount for you to come to school. This is what government will be investigating through the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education, and there is no such policy from government that students are compelled to pay in foreign currency. And those found on the wrong side of the law and policy will be penalized accordingly. So in terms of how many schools are doing it, I think it is prudent to allow the investigations to take place. They've indicated that they've already started the process. I can promise you that we will be getting an indication of the progress when Cabinet meets next week. So we are quite concerned about this. It is not government policy, and want to make sure that parents and learners alike are protected. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, yes, Mr. Moyo.
Thank you, Chief Secretary, and thank you, Minister Ndo. I just wanted to add, there is another aspect which is worrisome to both the Ministry of Education and to government. Those schools and teachers who are now demanding that teachers should be paid an incentive in foreign currency, and those schools are wanting to charge extra to school fees in foreign currency as a way of giving an incentive to the teachers. That the ministry as well as cabinet position is not allowed, and that they will also be investigating and measures to be taken so that we don't charge extra than school fees to parents and in order to give incentives to teachers. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And now we proceed to our last session. Those who didn't have the opportunity, I'm sure now, will be ready. Any volunteers? Yes, at the back. Your name, I know you, but name of others.
Thank you, Chief Secretary. Takuchi Ambakwi from SlyMedia TV. Mine is a follow-up to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. You state that there's a commercial office that's been set up in UAE. Is this now going to be the trend where we see potential as a country for growth in terms of trade? Are we now going to be going this route of setting up these commercial offices? And besides the over $1 billion in terms of deals that were agreed upon with the UAE, are there any other countries that we managed to penetrate into their markets as well? We heard about the Indian deal there. But are there any other markets that came through with fruitful deals? Thank you.
Okay. Any second volunteer? We don't want somebody to say I was left out. Huh? Okay, it looks like we have Takuchi Ambakwe directing his question to the Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs on the setting up of these commercial attaches, whether that's the norm or there could be other areas to be followed, like those who might want to invest. I'm sure he took note, Honorable Minister. Over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Chief Secretary. I think I must explain to Takuchi Ambakwe that this particular expo is an event of which will last 6 months, and this is the last month, where 192 countries are showcasing what is possible in their countries in terms of generating business with other participants at the expo itself. So we have, as Zimbabwe, a platform in our stand where we are showcasing several possibilities, where we're explaining how business can be done in Zimbabwe. We have possible or come and invest in Zimbabwe. Those are not the only ones. We still expect that there will be follow-ups on many other possibilities by countries, organizations, companies that may need to come and explore possibilities of doing business in Zimbabwe. The mention that I made of us setting up a consulate is really to have a reference point beyond the expo, because this expo is finishing end of this month. And we want to continue to be able to communicate with all those who are interested, especially from that region, and our presence there in the form of a consulate. We already have an embassy, but in the form of a consulate in Dubai is extremely important, because they will find it easier to reach us than to drive 2 hours to Abu Dhabi to reach us in order to get answers to their questions. So there is nothing that is a norm. It is a dynamic situation, and we continue to follow up on questions that will be raised by whoever who wants to invest in Zimbabwe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for clarifying the issues. Now we come the end of our briefing, and it remains for me to thank first the Honorable Minister Ndogo for having taken the mantle of being the acting Minister for Information and Reforming Institute as well, and also his colleagues who have assisted in answering questions posed by the members of the media. And of course, you members of the media for your cooperation. I think asking very useful questions. Till we meet next week, this is the end of our session. I thank you.